you've officially learned about all the different asset accounts you'll ever need. Oh, wait. Okay, yep, we forgot one. And you know how you finally mastered the fact that accounts increase with a debit and decrease with a credit? Yeah, well, that's great. Again, so proud of you. But with these contra asset accounts, the whole debit credit thing is completely reversed. Crazy, I know. Here's an example. Have you ever heard that a new car loses a big percentage of its value the moment you drive it off the lot? I don't know if that's true, but when a long-term asset like a vehicle loses value over time, we call it depreciation. Fun fact, we'll get even deeper into depreciation as a concept in future lessons. For now, you can focus on it as a contra asset account example.
Accumulated depreciation is used to offset an asset. So let me give you an example. I am going to buy a building, and each year when I buy that building, the value of that building is not immediately expensed at that moment. They do something called depreciate that building. So the building's $100,000. It's going to have a 10-year lifespan. And so we're going to divide the cost of that building and gradually expense it. Then you would create an entry that would take that asset and gradually expense it out. Now, the reason that we might do that is because obviously we are wanting to make sure that we see on the balance sheet what the value of the assets are. And so there's an estimation there of the value of that asset when you look at the original purchase of that building and then the depreciation. After the first year, you would have, say, $10,000 depreciated, and it accumulates. So it's accumulated depreciation is an offset to the asset. So after the second year, it would be, in theory, only worth $80,000. Now, again, we all know that that is just accounting entries that need to be done, but it does kind of give some idea of the usefulness or the value of that asset. From a bookkeeper's perspective, that is not typically something a bookkeeper is going to calculate. It is typically going to be an entry that is given to a bookkeeper to record on a regular basis by the accountant for the bookkeeper to record. It can be set up as a recurring entry every month, or depending on the type of business it is, they may just record it once a year. So it's not a huge impact on the day-to-day processing that needs to happen. And typically, depending on the accounting system, it can be set up and pretty much automated. So there are going to be times when there's other types of contra accounts where we would have an asset value or an account, and then there's an offset to that. Another example could be something like accounts receivable, and we estimate that we're not going to collect 100%, so we might have a contra account to reduce the value of those receivables for something called an allowance for doubtful or bad debts, doubtful accounts or bad debts. It's basically saying out of $100,000 in receivables, we're estimating that we won't collect 5%. And so we're going to record an allowance, an estimate of what we won't collect, so that it's a little truer. So especially if you're looking at a bank or an investor and they want to have a good idea of what the assets are, and we can estimate what that would be. So we would show $95,000 as total receivables. So that type of entry could happen. Again, typically those types of transactions or entries are going to be created by an accountant, and the bookkeeper would record those. And so that's how that would happen. Not a ton of accounts are like that, but there are just a few, and it really just helps us to have a better understanding of the value of the assets and other accounts that are there.